Well, we've got a few minutes to talk some extra with John Havens. John, in your book, Hacking Happiness, you write about virtual currency. Some of us have heard about Bitcoin, but what are we talking about? What is virtual currency?
Sure, virtual currency is this idea of how do you exchange value in a digital environment. And what we're used to is I'm giving you $1 for an apple or something, and it's easy to see this form of specie that we've been used to for years, whether it's gold coins or paper dollars. So what most people, what I talk about with virtual currency is this idea of eBay. A lot of people know, like, I want to put up my rag doll for $18, right? So we still are paying through a credit card to buy that, but the virtual currency that people have gotten used to is this idea of a digital trust network, right? Meaning even though I'm still paying American dollars for that doll, if I send you the doll and it's broken or whatever else, my trust rating goes way down. So that's kind of early ways that virtual currency has sort of evolved in the sense of what we're really selling. There is the object, but what we're also selling is a sense of accountability for our actions. And that virtual currency is sort of, now the idea is that we can start to attribute value based on those actions. But what Bitcoin, a lot of people don't realize, it's not just that it's a form of specie, it's the way that it's transacted. It's the whole framework for how you can get money from one person, actual currency, hard currency, from one person to the other.
Okay, whether it's like the eBay or the Bitcoin or any other kind, I mean, you use the word trust, which is interesting because one of the reasons people are skeptical of virtual currency is because this trust factor. How trustworthy is it?
It depends on the currency. I mean, Bitcoin has gotten a lot of attention, but a friend of mine named Stan Stalnaker has created a currency called Ven, V-E-N. I think he may be Canadian too. No, he's based in London. Anyway, Ven started as a social network. And the idea was that as a social network, you can pay wherever you are the equivalent of like $10 once you join. And in that network, you sort of answer questions for each other. It's kind of like a Quora or LinkedIn group where you can post a question. If other people answer those questions and you like what they said, you can then, quote, pay them in Ven, right? But the logic is then that is sort of a loyalty-based or again, sort of a trust-based currency that you're paying someone. But then what Ven did, which is so smart, is they also had a place where you could buy stuff based on the Ven you had accrued. So you could buy a car eventually through that Ven.
It's almost like a point system.
Yeah, it's a point system, but it varies depending on how I would want to say, I love what Pia said about this, and I give you X amount of Ven. So now his currency, Ven, from my understanding, has been a lot safer. It's also got a green aspect to it than Bitcoin, but Bitcoin has gotten most of the attention.
We talk, okay, about Bitcoin, or let's say we're talking about Ven. We talk a lot about it, and people always want to know, is one day am I not going to pull out a wad of cash out of my pocket? Is virtual currency going to replace the hard stuff? Is it?
It's a tough call. I mean, I think yes, but I remind people, like, we're used to using credit cards right now, right? So credit cards we got used to, what, in the course of 30 years, 40 years?
Well, I remember when the debit card came out, people were like, you can use a debit card? Like,
I know,
and now we don't even think about it.
Yeah, I think the thing I talk a lot about in the book about what I call accountability-based influence, where I think our actions are also going to mirror currencies in different ways. So, instead of being penalized like with a traffic ticket, for instance, a cop, may just take away a certain amount of virtual currency as they identify you by, your license plate, for instance. And I think where we start to see that our actions mirror this sense of currency in some way, and that exchange starts to happen, and our actions can be, increased towards, say, public good versus negative stuff, I think then that's where this type of currency will also take off.
I like what you said. I'll pay you in Ven.
Cool.
Thank you.
Right.
Thanks for coming in.
Sure.
Support Ontario's public television. Donate at tvo.org.